So welcome everybody to this webinar about the demand scan tool. My name is Ben. I'm one of the co-founders of Horizon Solutions, where we provide advanced supply chain planning tools for companies of all sizes. This webinar will focus solely on the demand scan. So I will not even give an introduction to demand planning or our company. If you want to know more about demand planning topics in general, I suggest that you have a look at our knowledge base, which includes a lot of different topics on demand planning and will give you a lot of basics. In this webinar, I focus solely on the scan, which allows companies of every size to get insights about their business. What kind of trends are happening in the business? What kind of models work well? And what kind of accuracy can you expect when you execute demand planning or when you set up forecasting models? We have tested this scan with several companies already and have gotten feedback, made adjustments. But if you have any other suggestions, feel free to share them with us so we can improve this even further. Now, as you will see, there is a chat. There's also a Q&A function available. So if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat or Q&A, and we should have plenty of time still to cover those at the end. If you have any question afterwards, you can still reach out to us, of course. Now, before I dive into the details as to what kind of insights you will get and how you can actually use this yourself, I want to share three key things that I believe this demand scan can do for companies. First of all, companies that don't have a demand planning process yet, they can get some immediate insights and immediate classification of their products, insights about trend models for their business. And based on that, with these models, they can estimate what kind of accuracy they can expect within their business. And with that accuracy and those initial insights, you're able to get some sort of indication. What could this mean for your business? Is it worth to explore this further? Is it worth to compare with your existing approach? That, of course, I leave up to you. But that's really the aim, to share insights in an automated manner for every company. And then you can choose what you like to do with it. See, someone is entering the lobby. Okay, so let's dive into it without any further ado. And let me start from scratch. I will go through what you get out of it in just a bit, but I will start just completely from the beginning. Okay, so I will log out. And if you want to use this demand scan, you can just request access to us. We'll share a login with you. And after you log in, you will not see all of these tabs on the left, but you will see the data tab. Okay, so the data tab allows you directly to upload the relevant information for this demand scan. Now, very concretely, what this demand scan needs is master data and sales history. Okay, so master data means which products does your company sell, from where do you ship them, and to whom or to where do you actually ship these. So this always has one unique identifier. There's some sort of SKU number, SKU ID. There's certain location and a certain customer, typically. And you might also have additional attributes for each of these dimensions, which you can, but you don't have to include in here as well. Of course, the structure of these files, you might get this data from your ERP system, or you might just have it in an Excel file somewhere. Once you export that, it will be structured in a certain way. And we have made the demand scan so that you can upload your own file format. So in here, you will be able to actually change these dimension names to whatever information you have in your own files. And after you do this, after you make these adjustments, if you have SKU number in here or whatever else identifier you have, you can just make these adjustments, save them. Based on that, you will then, in the upload data tab, if you go to master data, the system will also guide you through these steps. As you can see here, you get explanations as to what to do. But then in here, you can download the template for your item, location, and customer master data. To give you an example for that item data, I have these different columns, which I showed earlier. That's the information that I got for my business. And what I can then do is just populate that file with the relevant information for all of my different products, right? As you can see here. This you can do for your item master, for your location master, and for your customer master. Once you've done that, the other thing that the demand scan requires is sales history, order history. So this file, you don't have to do any of the mapping again because you have already given these main dimensions. So for the sales history, go back to that part, you will also be able to download the template. And to give you an example of that, here it just includes the item number, the country, customer ID, and also a shipped quantity and ship date, which I have to include for the analysis. If I look at my own sales history file, this file contains approximately 13,000 different rows of orders, and it includes a lot more information for each of these, as you see. But all that I would need to copy paste is the item number, the country, customer ID, and then the shipped quantity and ship date. Here, you have the option to let the demand scan run on your actual volumes that you sold or on actual revenue. So volume times price, right? If you want to get an analysis of like a Pareto analysis or 80-20 analysis of your overall revenue rather than just volumes, that's also possible. You have this flexibility within the tool. Let me just make sure that this one here is set correctly to my own structure again, because I have uploaded these master data files before. Once you have uploaded the master data, then you can upload the sales history as well. So let me do that also. And you'll also always get a notification as to whether the upload happened successfully or not, like you can see on the bottom. If you get any errors here, you can just let us know. There might be something in the file, some extra characters or something, so we can look into that. And then you can run the demand scan from here directly. Of course, depending on your file size, this might take a bit longer. And here on the top, a new tab should appear, if all goes well, yeah, with the demand scan report. The demand scan report has different sections. There is the summary, and there are these individual tabs for item, location, customer. The summary provides some initial insights about the business in general. What kind of sales have you seen? What kind of growth rate is there? And then it goes into more detail, like ABC classification. So here, the tool provides some Pareto analysis, which means that typically approximately 80% of your sales is caused by approximately 20% of your products. Just an indication. And here, it's approximately also the case. So what this shows is that 20 products contribute to 80% of sales, and they contribute for this amount of volume or value, depending on what information you upload in here. And so the system makes an automatic classification as to which products are important in that sense. This doesn't include margin yet, but you can use it for volume or value, and you get an indication for, okay, which products should I actually focus on, and which products should you have different inventory methods for as well, if you look at the next steps within your supply chain planning. Now, you can always open this extra icon, which gives extra information about what is shown exactly, what does it mean. As you can see, we haven't shown the parameters exactly here yet. We will do that next so that you can actually understand, okay, how is a certain category defined or calculated exactly, so that you can know that for yourself as well. The second very important part is, okay, where is the highest growth and decline across your different products, locations, and customers? Which products are rapidly growing, which ones are declining, which ones are being phased out. So these are also shown. And third and fourth part is regarding demand variability and order frequency distribution. This is a very important part in the demand planning process because the kinds of patterns and variability of your demand will determine which methods work well for your business, but also, do you need a lot of interaction within your company to further refine the demand plan, yes or no? Demand variability, this comes down to maybe 1 month you sell a product, you sell only 100 of the product, next month you sell 500. And there might be seasonality to it in the sense that it happens every year, or they might not be. It might just be intermittent or very irregular demand. How this differs from order frequency is that a product might ship every Monday, for instance, which is very frequent, very regular in that sense, but it might ship at different quantities. And so it is still volatile and variable in that sense. And order frequency is an important one to get an indication for your different products, For which ones do we have a lot of different orders? For which ones do we only have a couple that are driven by a couple of key customers? So that's how variability and order frequency differ from each other. You will be able to look at all of these details, which products or which customers are volatile, are variable. You will look at all of this for your own data, of course, but there's always a deep dive of each specific section. The final part in here is regarding the maturity of your products, locations, and different customers, and also product lifecycle management. So how much data is there for different products? How long have you been selling these products? Are there any new locations that you have introduced? How loyal are customers in that sense also? Have they been ordering with you for a long time or not? And if there is no data available, or only recently data became available, the system also assumes that some products were discontinued or that some customers are new. And you can then look into that. Is that indeed true? And you might need to look into those categories further, because that's no model might be able to estimate that reasonably. So you have this kind of different classification of different products as to how you can handle them afterwards. If you want a breakdown of each specific product, you will have that here. Same for location and customer, regarding specific maturity, regarding what category it falls under, volatility, seasonality, trend, and then the order frequency. So that's just a breakdown of it all. You will also be able to download this report. So far here, it's not possible yet, but we will make that option available. And as a next step, we will also show an extra icon which tells you, okay, what can you do with this very concretely for your own business? Now you can still reach out to us, so we can help you with that. But this is just an automated analysis of the data alone without any next steps given, right? Now, when it comes to performance, the system can also automatically run the models and see historically what kind of accuracy could you expect. Let me clear the filters here. What kind of accuracy could you expect across your different product categories over a certain time period? If you have historical forecasts, or you want the system to compare with a baseline, that's also possible. So this you can then use to see, okay, what kind of errors do we see in our business, and how does this compare with maybe another tool that you might have in place that you could then challenge or improve the specific models that are used in there. Because if we look at the actual method section, you will see that we also show, this is for the overall business, what kind of error distribution, what kind of exact errors were there over the different months in the past, and for which products, which model works best historically. It can change from time to time, and depending on the time period as well. In here, we will also be adding extra information about these models. How are those calculated exactly? In which cases are these typically used or not? But this is a very good starting point to get an indication, like, okay, what can we use? What can we expect from it in terms of error? The final part that I want to show in here is the alert section, where we have a section with data issues, which we can also enable. And this will show large outliers in your business, whether it be exceptionally high sales, or perhaps you had a stock out and you didn't sell anything. So this is a way to cleanse history, or to get your data up to a certain point, right? Not all companies have a clear history, or they have outliers. So this is a way for you to improve the structure of your data, basically. So these are the main things that I wanted to show: the main reports, performance, the methods, and the actual alert section. If you still have any questions or suggestions, we can use the remaining time for any of these. So feel free to put anything in the chat or Q&A, and we can tackle these topics. I will actually stop sharing my screen. Let me see. Don't see any questions yet. Do you have a data flow from ERP systems such as SAP? Well, so this demand scan for the moment is manually, right? Like I showed you with these, with the data upload. Wait, let me share my screen again. because this demand scan, the idea is not to have a tool that regularly gets data in and out, right? That's not the aim of the scan. So that's why you can upload your master data and then a dump of your whole sales history in here manually, and then it can run. The idea is also not that you run this like every week or every month, right? It's to provide initial insights and do a full analysis, but it's not a, we have a tool that you can use for demand planning, right? But that's not what this webinar is about, so I will not go into detail in that. For now, it's manual tasking, like you. I hope that answers your question. So another question, how to get access? Yeah, so we will share a link pretty soon for everybody to get access, but we just need to still make sure that you can't run it multiple times, because then we use a lot of calculation, a lot of capacity. So if you want to try it out, just send us a message and we will share a login with you and the actual link where you can use it. Jody, not proposing SKU forecast or demand for the future, right? Well, the demand scan in itself, not. If you want to do that, it's also part of the tool. So once we actually run it for performance, we can also show you what the actual forecast would look like. That is a possibility, but it's not part of the standard demand scan, so to speak. That's just more of a diagnostic and analysis tool rather than a full demand planning tool. It's possible we can do it, but not within the demand scan. I hope that's clear. Okay, let me check. How is data privacy ensured since sales history are sensitive information? Yes, indeed, Mobin. So typically for all of these tests that we have done in the past, typically we still share information about the infrastructure that we use. Often there needs to be even some sort of NDA in place, unfortunately still, but that's not from our end. It's mostly from the company's end, typically, because you are sharing sensitive information. And after that, the data is also deleted, of course, if you wish. So there's a policy in place for that. But we want to make this tool fully available and anybody can use it. In reality, there might still be like thresholds that you might have to check internally on your end.
Hello everyone.
Okay,
My name is Chinmay.
Don't hear you, Chinmay.
Can you hear me?
Do I see you? Wait. No. Still do not hear you. But I see there's a question in the Q&A as well by Peter. Let me check here. Can you also segment your SKUs based on their order behaviors? Transactional customers, promo customers. Yeah, it's a good question, Peter. So transactional customers, that falls more in the category of, if you look at the analysis, where you go to order frequency and maturity, there you can see our customers regularly ordering with you, yes or no. So, but when it comes to promos specifically, in here in the demand scan, adding promo information, that's not a standard capability yet. Could be interesting one indeed. So we can't hear Chinmay, but Chinmay is also responsible for the product. He says that we can add it to the variability part indeed, but it's not a standard way yet. Okay, let me check. There's a question about, is the trial free of charge? Yes, it is. You can just use this demand scan. We want to make this available to any company to lower the barrier for everybody. What is the frequency to use this demand scan tool? The frequency, like how often you need to do it, or the idea is not to do it regularly, yeah, because normally the business will be steady for some time, unless you have a lot of phase in, phase out, then you might want to rerun it. But initially, we also don't let you run it every day or something, right? Because that would just be a waste of capacity. So I hope that answers the question. Then there's a question about the forecasting accuracy of what will be the forecasting accuracy. Well, that really depends on the business. And so I don't want to make any claims about that for any business. You can just see what to expect on your own data. That's really the aim of this scan. And then you can compare it with a very basic naive method with the forecast that you had. So, but the models that we use are best in class and are the latest ones. It includes simple ones. If you look at it, like moving averages, which do work well in some businesses, but there's also more advanced ones. If you talk about machine learning models like LGBM, XGBoost. So okay, I think I answered all of the questions. So I will give it just
There is
one more minute for anybody that still might have a question.
There's one last question, I think.
See something. Is there a limitation on the size of the data set? Good question. So there is, I believe, actually. I'm not aware of the exact limit, but then you will get an error if you try uploading it. So then you can just reach out to us and we can check, because if it's very unreasonable, we don't want to get a huge file in there, let's say. But if it's actually your data, then we can run it. We just need to enable it from the backend in that case. So you can just check with us or try it, see if it runs right away. Okay. Okay, so I'll just give it a little bit more time. If you still have any questions afterwards, you can always contact us directly, whether through email, LinkedIn, doesn't matter. And like I showed you earlier, there's also this knowledge base. So if you want to know more about demand planning or other planning topics, you can also always have a look at that one. Okay, see some people say thanks, going to leave. So I'm assuming there are no more questions. So thank you, everybody. Thanks for the questions also, very relevant ones. If you still have any questions, like I said, feel free to reach out. If you want to try it out, feel free to reach out and have a great rest of the day. Bye, everyone.